UFC Fight Night, Hill versus Rountree, picks, bets, breakdowns. We're going through it all, except for the first fight of the night.
6 fights is too long. No one's got time for that. We're
No one's
sticking
got
it. We're sticking it to five. There's five good ones.
six fight.
That's what we're doing.
Six fights is nonsense. So we're starting with the second fight of the night. Nazim the Black Wolf Sadykhov versus Nikolas Iron Motta, however you pronounce it.
Nada.
Either way, he's probably losing because the Black Wolf is a minus 400 favorite.
Yeah.
Deservingly so. He comes in at 5'10 versus the Motta 5'9. A reach of 69 inches versus Motta's 70.5. But in the end, Black Wolf is on a 10-fight win streak.
He's on a 10-fight win streak. His only loss, is his first MMA pro fight, and most of those 10 fights are all finishes. He's got 9 finishes, 1 decision in those 10 fights. This guy is actually a killer. He trains at Sarah Longo, the gym. He trains with Marab. He trains with Aljamain Sterling there. It's a stacked gym. It's a great gym to be training at if you're just starting out in MMA and getting some experience. And since he's been in the UFC, contender series won by finish. After that, he's got another finish in the UFC. He has wins over Terrence McKinney, a finish over Terrence McKinney actually, and then he also has wins over Ismail Bonfim, which is a great fighter to have a win over. I think he's 20-4, and both those brothers are really solid. So having a win over one of them is crazy. So he's coming in here. He's already beat some good names. It's not like he's just a hype train with these finishes and he doesn't have any names to back him up. He's beaten some vets already. He's got some good names. He's training at a good gym. He's got a good win streak. And yeah, the guy he's fighting, Motta, he's pretty good. He's kind of mid though. It is early on in the UFC. He started out 2-1-1, and one of his losses was to Jim Miller, who's kind of an old fella. So pretty rough look, but lately he's been on a 2-fight win streak. One of those is a knockout, so that's pretty solid. But I think this guy's too mid to bring down the Black Wolf. If I'm being honest with you, I think minus 400 is pretty valid because this guy's really good. And yeah, we're going heavy on the Black Wolf this weekend. I'm definitely thinking a stoppage, maybe second round, maybe first round. So that's what we're thinking.
First, second round for the Black Wolf. Under 9 minutes of fight time is what we're thinking.
You're getting knocked out by Jim Miller, the old man. You're getting knocked out by the Black Wolf. Let me put it to you that way.
Black Wolf knows how to finish, and he will take care of
He'll finish hard.
Iron Motta. He will.
He's coming in hard.
He's gonna. If you go with that pick, you can get that for plus 104, which we think is great value for that. Black Wolf's a finisher.
He's a
He's a
That's
finisher.
what he does.
That's what he does.
That's what he does.
Shows up, finishes quick. He gets out of there. He's going up against the guy who just got finished by Jim. Well, not just got finished, but this guy got knocked out by
Yeah.
Jim Miller.
Black
So-
Wolf's gonna take him out.
Yeah. Moving on to the next fight, we have Myktybek, Orolbai.
Pretty rough one with the names we got
Yeah,
going on
yeah,
here.
this is a rough one. This is a rough
Yeah.
one. We have Myktybek Orolbai versus Tofiq Musayev. Yeah, no, that I killed that one.
Yeah.
Myktybek is a minus 170 favorites. He is sitting in at 5'10. They're actually both sitting in at 5'10. Myktybek has a 74-inch reach versus Tofiq's 72-inch reach.
That's pretty solid. You have a pretty interesting fight here. Myktybek's from Kyrgyzstan. He's a solid prospect. He entered the UFC on 4 days' notice and defeated Uros Medic, which is a great win. Then he fought, what's his name? Elvis Brenner, who's a talented Brazilian fighter. And he fought him in Brazil, and he got the unanimous decision win there. And he's just been showing that he's a very well-rounded fighter. After those wins, he fought Mateus Rebecki, who's a super talented and 19 wins and 2 losses, so he's a very well-rounded veteran, and he's been fighting for a long time in the UFC. So the war that he had with him, I think, is gonna teach him a lot, and I think he's gonna gain a lot from that loss. Even though he took a lot of damage, I think he's gonna learn more from that than he would have if he lost. So I think he's gonna be looking good in this fight, learning a lot in his last fight, being a well-rounded fighter. He's 27. He's the younger fighter in this one, and he's fighting Tofiq, who's coming outside from an outside organization. He's fought in Bellator, or he's fought in Rising, and he's been champions in other organizations. And he's actually throughout his career he's been a very entertaining fighter. He's got a lot of finishes. He's got a lot of knockouts. And he actually has a win over Patricky Pitbull, I think. But he hasn't fought in 2 years. He's been getting finished by guys in outside organizations, and I think by that alone, if you haven't fought in that long, you're coming into the UFC after being off for 2 years, fighting an up and coming prospect, and you've been already been getting finished by guys outside the organization. It's not going to go well for you in the UFC. I'm going Orolbai finish in the second round.
That's specific right there.
That's very
That's
specific. I feel like I got a great feeling about it actually.
So we go by Orolbai finish. That's going to get you up to a plus 167. I think
That's
easy.
fair.
I think that's nice.
All of Tofiq's losses are by finish. His last loss was by body kick. The loss before that was by triangle choke. And we know that Orolbai has finishes. We know that he can submit, and we know that he can knock people out. A couple fights ago, he won by neck crank. Fight before that, he won by punches. So I think that's a great bet.
Moving on to the next fight, we have Curtis Blaydes versus Rizvan Kuniev. Exact same height, 6'4", 6'4", but Curtis Blaydes has a 4-inch reach advantage.
Okay, I'm gonna be straight up with this fight. Rizvan Kuniev is one of the worst guys I've ever seen in the UFC in my entire life. This guy's career has been completely padded, and he's a steroid cheat. And on top of that, it's a miracle that he's getting in the UFC. He's getting a top 5 fight in his first fight in the UFC. I have no clue what's going on here. This makes no sense. This guy is fighting people that are 18 and 10. This guy is fighting people that are 5 and 9. This guy is fighting people that are 33 and 34. This guy is fighting in the Eagle FC, which is one of the worst MMA organizations that have ever existed. That thing is garbage. And then he's fighting, probably his biggest win was against, what's his name, Renan Ferreira. You probably know him best because Ngannou just beat him. But he was one of the PFL's top guys, and this guy has a win over him. And that win got overturned because he tested positive for 4 different substances in that win. And then if you watch that fight is a series of him holding this guy up against the cage, failing every single takedown. He cannot take this guy down in the PFL. And anytime that he does have ground control, it's because Ferreira's like, this guy sucks at grappling, let me try and take him down. And then Ferreira fails a takedown and ends up on bottom. Or in the second round, he failed a flying knee and ended up on bottom. So this guy is one of the worst grapplers ever. He's in the UFC now. He's probably going to be 80% worse because he's not going to be able to take steroids anymore. And he's fighting Curtis Blaydes. One of the top 5 best heavyweights in the whole world is fighting this bum that shouldn't even be in the UFC. And it just blows my mind. I think this guy's gonna try and grapple Blaydes. Blaydes will probably stop the takedowns, and he can either knock him out on the feet with his boxing, because Blaydes has heavy hands, or he could just do whatever he wants with him on the ground and knock him out with ground and pound. But I'm positive, balls in the line, Blaydes is winning this fight by knockout. First round.
That was brutally honest right there.
First round.
That was brutally honest. First round.
First round.
First round.
This guy sucks.
You think Blaydes knocks him out in the first
I
round?
think Blaydes knocks him out in the first round.
All right, well, Blaydes by knockout, just any round, is plus 135, which
This is free money.
free money.
Plus
Free-
135.
We've said that a couple times.
What if you specify first round?
You pick Blaydes knockout in round 1, that's plus 350. That's a little bit bold.
That's bold.
But
That's bold.
that's bold.
I think he's gonna smoke this guy. What's Blaydes' finish first round? What's Blaydes in the first round?
I don't think I got
Okay.
that one. I don't think I got that
Okay.
one. I don't got that one.
He's got that
I
one.
don't got that one. He's plus 115 for a finish anytime.
Blaydes is plus 115 for a finish anytime.
Plus 115 for a finish anytime.
I'm personally, I don't bet on fights really. This guy's the big sports bettor. I'm gonna unload my wallet on Blaydes right now because I hate this guy that he's fighting. 1, because I know this is free money, and 2, because I want to enjoy even more watching this guy get smoked by one of the best heavyweights in the world.
And on Dabble, you can get Blaydes less than 12 minutes of fight time, and that's just easy. That's easy. He's gonna finish him. He's gonna finish him early. 12 minutes
That's
is
insane.
ridiculous.
12 minutes. Who do they think this guy is?
Who do you think this guy is?
Who do they think this guy is?
He's gonna make 12 minutes.
Blaydes didn't even make it 1 minute in his last fight.
Fiziev coming off of a 3-fight losing streak Bahamondes coming off of a three-fight win streak. Fiziev is 5'8". Bahamondes is 6'3". Fiziev has a 71.5-inch reach. Bahamondes 75.5-inch. Obviously, a huge height differential, 4-inch reach advantage, but the odds are perfectly even right now.
This fight is crazy. This is honestly, I think this is the most exciting night. Actually, it's pretty hard to beat the main event, but this is up there for most exciting fight of the night. Bahamondes is a really talented and exciting prospect. He's definitely the biggest lightweight on the roster, but he's 27 years old. He's got a lot of hype behind him, and he's got a great skill set. He's really dangerous off his back. He's got great submissions. His kicks are really heavy on the feet. He's able to knock people out with wheel kicks, question mark kicks. He's got dangerous, tricky kicks on the feet, and he's got decent boxing. And then you have Fiziev, who's already been established at lightweight. He's one of the top guys. He's always been able to hang with the top six guys. He's had wars with Gaethje. He's knocked out RDA. He's knocked out Moicano. He's a great fighter, but he's had some bad luck lately. He lost to Gaethje in a war the first time. He looked like he was going to win early on and then kind of slowed down later. Next fight, he fought Gamrot and blew out his leg. He was injured. How long was he out for? He was okay. I can't
I'll
tell.
do it. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. He was out for a long time after he fought Gamrot,
Year and 5 months.
a year and 5 months. And then he just took a short notice fight against Gaethje again and didn't go his way, but he still looked pretty good. What this fight comes down to is who's going to dictate where this fight can be held at because Bahamondes has a deeper bag, right? He can grapple, he can also strike. But will he be able to get it to the ground? And the thing is, Bahamondes doesn't really shoot takedowns. He's one of those jiu-jitsu guys that kind of like only uses jiu-jitsu if he gets taken down or if he's in a submission or if he's in a place where he ends up kind of like he stuffed your takedown, he's on your neck there. Like he's a Kevin Holland type with grappling. He only uses it as a defense. That's not going to work against Fiziev because Fiziev is going to be able to stuff his takedowns and if he's not even going to shoot any takedowns, then it's going to work out great for Fiziev. If Fiziev's going to be able to dictate this fight and keep it on the feet, I think Fiziev's a much better striker. This guy lives at Tiger Muay Thai. His Muay Thai is amazing. He's extremely explosive. He's got great kicks, great boxing. I think the height and reach advantage or disadvantage is going to be a problem, but I think his experience and just his skill set is a little bit ahead of a young Bahamondes right now, and I think he'll end up getting a decision win here.
The odds have actually shifted. Fiziev by himself is now plus 100.
Okay.
Fiziev by decision is plus 225 right
Wow.
now.
I like
That
that.
seems pretty nice.
Fiziev just plus money, I would take that straight up. Is pretty solid. I think people are just kind of looking down at him because he's been out for so long and because he lost a replacement fight, but he's still one of the best guys.
Finally, out of the main event, we have Jamahal Hill versus Rountree. Jamahal Hill obviously coming off of those two losses against Pereira and Yuri. Those are two, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Rountree also coming off of his last loss of Pereira. Jamahal Hill right now is currently sitting at a plus 130 underdog. He is 3 inches taller. He's 6'4". Rountree's 6'1", and has a 2.5-inch reach advantage.
This is a super interesting fight, and I think it's a lot closer than like most of the general MMA fan base is thinking. I think a lot of people are super high on Khalil Rountree right now, and a lot of people are super low on Jamahal Hill. If we're looking at the stuff like we're looking at stocks, I'd say Khalil Rountree is a little bit to a lot overvalued right now, and Jamahal Hill is pretty undervalued right now. And that's because Khalil Rountree, he had a pretty mediocre career leading up to his title shot against Pereira, if we're being honest. People think he lost a split decision against Dalby. He had some good wins. He was in there until the third round against Anthony Smith, who's we now know he was completely done in those last couple fights of his career. So it's kind of questionable if you look at those last couple fights that he had before he fought Pereira. But when he fought Pereira, he had an amazing rise to the occasion moment where he put on a phenomenal performance for the first two, maybe 1 3/4 rounds of that fight, and gave Pereira one of his hardest fights that he had in the UFC. And so people are on him thinking that he's one of the best strikers that we have in the UFC, thinking he's the second best striker in the weight class. And Jamahal Hill, he's had a rough time. He had a great rise to the belt. He knocked out a lot of great people. He had a lot of good wars on the way to the belt. beat Thiago Santos. He beat Johnny Walker. He beat Glover Teixeira. In my mind, I picked him against Pereira, and I also picked him against Yuri, which looks stupid now, but I always thought that Jamal Hill was slept on because he's very well rounded. He's athletic. He's got good fight IQ. He hits hard. I always thought that he was a little bit slept on, but in those last couple fights, they didn't really go his way. He got slept by Pereira. He got slept by Yuri. And that's not me saying I'm picking Jamal Hill in any way. I'm definitely going to pick Khalil Rountree in this one. I'm leaning Khalil Rountree because Jamal Hill, he's the type of fighter to he'll take one to give one. And he always gets beat up. Even if he's winning, he's getting hit in his fights. His fight against Glover Teixeira is compared to the fight with Max Holloway and Brian Ortega in terms of dominance in title fights because the strike differential was so massive. It was seen as one of the most dominant title fights in UFC history. But if you look at his face after, you realize that he was eating shots every single time he enters the pocket. He's eating an overhand. He's eating a shot. His eyes getting swollen up. And I think that that works against 99% of the guys in this division because at light heavyweight, you have a lot of guys that are like kind of well-rounded guys like Nikita Krylov who are like decent strikers, but they're more grapplers. And these are the kind of guys where you can go in there and you can use your well-roundedness to stay on the feet, but then you end up knocking them out. But when you fight real strikers where you can't just take one to give one, where you fight Alex Pereira, who's going to knock you out in one punch if you take one to give one, if you fight Yuri Prohaska, who's going to knock you out if you take one to give one, you're going to lose. And unfortunately for Jamal Hill, I think he's fighting one of the guys that you can't take one to give one against Khalil Rountree. Khalil Rountree hits extremely, extremely hard. Although he's not the most amazing striker as everyone paints him, he's still a very dangerous striker, I think. And yeah, I think he's gonna probably finish Jamal Hill in the first 3 rounds. But he has a major problem. Khalil Rountree has a problem with gassing out. We see him slow down throughout his fights. He carries a lot of muscle, and he's a very fast twitch, muscle fiber, explosive type of fighter. And in those later rounds, he slows down. We saw this. He went so hard. He put on such a phenomenal performance against Alex Pereira. And then at the end of round two, he gassed out. And he basically almost immediately got finished in the third round. He almost got immediately got finished in the fourth round. The third round, he got beat up really bad. And so, how I'm looking at this fight is if Cleo Roundtree can finish him in the first 3 rounds by just hitting him with counter shots, hitting him when Jamal Hill tries to take one to give one. I think Khalil Rountree is going to win the fight. But if it gets to round 4 and 5, Jamal Hill is a great brawler and he does really well in wars. We saw this against Glover Teixeira. We saw this against Thiago Santos. And so if it gets to round 4 and 5 and it's a war, maybe even round three, I'm picking Jamal Hill. But early on, I think the most probable thing is that Khalil Rountree is going to finish him with big blitzing strikes that he comes in with these big boxing combinations. He hits extremely hard, and he also has great Thai boxing, and Jamal Hill's got some flaws in his striking and his footwork. I could see him chopping at the legs. Another thing for Jamal Hill, though, is he invests heavy, heavy in the body. And if it gets to those later rounds, I could see him having a lot of success with that and beating him up in the fourth and the fifth. Khalil Rountree is definitely not a 5 round fighter. So if it gets to those later rounds, I'm taking Jamal Hill. But I think most likely is Khalil Rountree takes it in the first couple rounds.
So basically, look to live bet Jamal Hill. If you make it past 2.5 rounds,
Yeah.
start looking at the live odds and just peep Jamal.
Yeah.
Peep it.
I like it. Let's look at these
Let's look
odds.
at the odds real quick. The odds right now, Jamal Hill is minus 102, Khalil Rountree is minus 125. So it's shifting a little bit, becoming more even.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that.
Rountree by knockout is plus 140. Jamal Hill by knockout is plus 210 right now. Are you looking at under 2.5 if you're going Rountree?
Yeah, under 2.5.
Under 2.5 with Rountree, you're looking at plus 189. And then obviously if you get past there and you start looking at Jamal Hill, it's gonna be all up to the live odds and just how bad he's looking so far. All right, we put together a quick little main card parlay. 4 legs, we have the Black Wolf minus 460 to win. We have Orolbai to win at minus 172. Curtis Blaydes at minus 295 to win. And then the main event to not go to decision at minus 340. And that all combines to a plus 233. We think those are all pretty solid. And that's some great value right there.
Hammer it. Let's
Hammer it.
go.
Hammer
Get
it.
the money.
And if you go over to Dabble, you can get the Black Wolf less than 9 minutes of fight time and Curtis Blaydes less than 12 minutes of fight time for a 3x payout. Use code GCG when you deposit any amount,
Bang.
and you'll get a free 25.
Easy.
Easy money. Take that, slap it on that little two-legger. You got yourself a free $75. Come on. What are we doing? What are we even doing here?
What are we even talking about?
Go do it right now. What
Go.
are you doing? Go.
Black Wolf.